to say that before we debriefed. Okay? And that middle box there, again, don't transcribe our conversation necessarily, but if we say anything that strikes you as interesting, that middle box that says notes to debrief is a good place to capture that. Okay? So, glad that's over?
Yeah, I am really glad that's over. I've never done that for 80 people.
Right?
Before, so yeah, that was a challenge. I can sleep now.
So you had... So you had said when we started, during the pre-brief, that you were really interested in this idea of proficiency and helping your students understand what that looks like, and that it's a continuum, not a point, right? How do you feel that went with these folks?
I think it went very well. I feel like this is a lesson I've done with my students before, and like I said, I want to try it again. I keep refining it, I keep tweaking it, and that's where InnoLab helps me. But you know, I'm never quite happy with the way that it goes. But today I felt like it went smoothly, despite the space and the huge numbers and all. I mean, you know, usually I do this for about a less than, you know, a smaller group of students. So despite those parameters, it went well. And I think, and the participants wouldn't know this, but I did tweak the descriptors a little bit from the last time I did this. I did this at an InnoLab in the fall, and then I just did it a few weeks ago with my students, and I still wasn't happy with it. So I knew I was guessing that perhaps the descriptors were a problem, and I feel like that went well, especially at novice low. That's usually the group that I have to jump to because they're trying too hard. And today I went over and they were like, oh, we got this, you know, no problem. So I'm hoping maybe it's the descriptors or my, you know, we're geniuses.
All right. Well, that's interesting. So I heard you say it went well, and I was going to push you to say how you knew that. And
wasn't going to get away with that.
No, you weren't. But you did kind of answer it, right? You had said that you had made adjustments to the language of the descriptors, and you saw evidence of a much richer response that you're attributing to that adjustment you made, having taught the lesson once before, right?
And another thing that I think that went well is, and I'll be interested later on to get around to all the Post-it notes, because of space I couldn't. In my own classroom I would have been able to really look at all the noticings. I haven't had that chance yet, but the few that I saw were exactly what I was hoping would happen. It was, I noticed that there are more descriptions here. I noticed that there's a personal story. I noticed all of these things. So the noticings that I saw were on target for what I was hoping for.
That's interesting that you say that. So there are, as the walls fall down around us, there are layers of, to use an admin word here, there are layers of data that you've collected. One is the language that they wrote on the chart paper, but two is the sophistication of the noticings that they made as they went around those Post-it notes that you've gathered.
Which tells me I did, as I reflect on that, as part of this piece, that's something that I need to reflect on. What did I say that made that work? What, you know, how did that surface itself?
You had mentioned 4 big pieces, and we saw those: the quick write, the group write, to the prompt, gallery walk, and a final. I have one question about that. You already mentioned the size, and I sabotaged you a little bit by having only 1 or 2 people go up, which meant not everybody could do the last quick write. So pedagogically, you had said you were interested in that gallery walk. I wonder if a gallery in a group this big, did that still work for you, or would you rethink that next time, or?
I think it still worked. I wish we could have gotten everybody up and out of their seats so they could look, because then when it came time to write, it was, oh wait, not everybody had gotten up. So that was a little bit of a glitch in my lesson, and I will totally blame you for that. But I do know, you know, as I reflect on that, I'm like, well, I know that I have to be mindful of, I mean, I may only have 30 kids in a room, but the room is a lot smaller, so size is still an issue. So I would try it again, but maybe do half get up, and then the other half, but I was concerned about time. So, and time and space are constraints that all teachers work under that we can't always fix. So it's still something I'll reflect on.
One last question. I asked you what you hoped they take away, and you had mentioned that you would hope they were thinking about proficiency in their own context. You were also hoping they'd be able to take something like a gallery walk back to their space. I'm curious what you're taking away from having led this.
That's a loaded question. I'm taking away that, I'm taking away that I believe when you ask a room full of adults to play along and participate, that they will. And I heard laughter, and I heard you know, I saw some very funny stories that surfaced. You know, out as there was a middle table, there was something about a dancing bear or something, you know, and there was laughter there. and those sort of things. So I'm taking away that this can be done with a room full of adults. And then I'm also taking away, I did hear a few conversations where, right here, Mrs. Weber, right? Yes. She talked about art and how there's proficiency within projects. And so I saw evidence of that thought process taking place.
Proficiency in different contexts.
Proficiency in different contexts. So that's a win there for me.
Nice. Very good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay, so one more time on our 3x2 sheet, we're going to spend 60 more seconds doing 3 more noticing. They can be noticing based on the debrief. They can be noticing and thinking back to the lesson, but 3 more noticings really quickly. Go.
Do we take a break first?
That's 10 seconds. You don't have to have 3, but if you could just wrap up whatever thought you're on. Okay. If you could now, in your group, you can either share your noticing with your partner, or if you want to do a quick around your table, everyone do a noticing and share with the table. But just take maybe 40 seconds really quickly, share something you noticed with someone.
What's that? Yes. I can help you. Oh, good. Good.
Okay, if we could really quickly, before we're going to take a break really quick, but before that, if any of our groups want to share out things they noticed, that would be awesome for Leslie to be able to hear, just things that went on that you noticed today.
Of course, Leslie's over there. Yeah, go.
Go ahead.
Well, one thing that I said about that is that there was a summarization of what her expectations were. She gave out the direction of what it is that she wanted us to do, and then she summarized it at the end of it. And I think that gives clarification to the group.
Yeah, we knew what was expected of us. Very good. Children.
Kept to a strict time.
Kept to a strict time.
How do you know that?
I heard the timer.
Okay.
Okay.
I noticed that she had everybody kind of explain or elaborate on answers when she wasn't sure where we were going with them. So she kind of made us make some vague answers go into more detail so she could see what we were thinking and understand.
Can I ask you I don't know how I do that. Can you tell me? Because that's something I don't know I'm doing in my own classroom.
Right now.